Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Professor Hassan and you are watching my channel Professor Hassan Hamayo. Yesterday on 13th March 2022 Sunday, Punjab Public Service Commission conducted two important written tests. First one was for the post of statistician BS 18 and second was for the post of statistical officer BS 17. In today's video I will discuss a very important test, statistical officer test. I will discuss important numerical as well as theoretical questions, conceptual questions of the written test of statistical officer. Before starting today's vital and important lecture, I want to announce two important things. First one is that I have started online spoken English course for all the students, for all the subjects, and alhamdulillah many students, male and female candidates are learning spoken English course from different cities of Pakistan. And the second announcement is that I am going to conduct the session, online session for the preparation of statistical assistant. I request, advise and suggest everyone you should indulge in these courses. Now we will discuss that paper. The first question of today's paper is unequal variance of the error term is called. We know that what is the meaning of homoscedasticity. Homoscedasticity means that the variances of the error terms are equal. But now in that question, in the paper of statistical officer, the question is when the error terms variances are unequal, it is called heteroscedasticity, a very important concept. Question number 2 is rejection region is also called. What is the rejection region? We have the concept of test statistic, all the values of the test statistic which are consistent with the acceptance region, with the consistent with actually if I say that all the values of the test statistic which are not supporting, which are consistent for rejecting the null hypothesis, these are the values. This is the critical region. All the values of the test statistic which are supporting to reject the null hypothesis, that will be the critical region, that will be the rejection region, and instead of this much there will be the acceptance region. So rejection region is also called critical region. Next is square matrix 1 2 3 4. If the number of rows which is 2 and the number of columns which is also 2 are equal, we can say that it is a square matrix, a rectangular form of the numbers in which number of rows is equal to number of columns, that is the square matrix. Next question is R square is also called. In the previous paper of statistician there was a numerical very important question. What do we learn from R square? R square tells us about the explained variation, the contribution of the independent variables in the production of in the dependent variable. For example, in previous paper there was a question, R is 0.8, then what will be R square? It will be 0.64. and what is its interpretation? It is telling us that 64% variation. With the help of the independent variables we are explaining for the response variable, for the dependent variable. But in the paper of statistical officer the question is R square is also called coefficient of determination, a very important one. Next is cumulative frequency curve it is ogive, a very important one. It is used for median, and histogram is the graph of the frequency distribution that is used for the mode. These important questions you will have to learn. Next question is covariance between explanatory variables and the error term is called. It is called endogeneity, a very important one. Next question is very important. If variable follows gamma distribution, its two parameters alpha and beta, and in the exam the parameters are 2 and 6. And what is the variance? The question is what is the variance? I will discuss its mean first of all. Its mean is alpha beta. If in the paper question comes about mean, that will be alpha beta 2 multiplied by 6, that will be 12. But now in the paper the question is variance. That is, we know alpha beta square. It is alpha, it is beta. 2 into 6 square, 2 into 36. The correct option is 72. A very important. What did you learn in gamma distribution? There are two parameters, alpha and beta. The first one is given 2, it is alpha. Second one is given, it is beta, it is 6. And what is the mean? Alpha beta. Multiply these two parameters. What is variance? Alpha beta square. And what is standard deviation? That will be under root of alpha beta square. That will be beta under root alpha. That question is also important for the paper. Question number 8, a very important one. I will discuss important points for this much, which will be beneficial in the next paper also. Binomial, negative binomial. In binomial distribution, trials are fixed. In negative binomial, trials are not fixed. In binomial distribution, number of successes are not fixed. Not fixed. But in negative binomial, number of successes are fixed. In binomial distribution, mean is always greater than its variance. In negative binomial distribution, mean is always less than its variance. And I have told you about the interview test. What is the reason behind it? Mean is NP, variance is NPQ. When you multiply a number which is less than 1, it will be reduced. That's why in binomial, mean is always greater than its variance. But the question in negative binomial for SO paper, mean is always less than its variance. A very important one. Next question is a very important one. And that was the repeat question in both of the papers. Mean and variance of the Poisson distribution. Mean is equal to variance. For example, it is lambda, it will also be lambda. It is mu, it will also be mu. In Poisson distribution, the m1 is equal to k1. k1 is equal to mu. k2 is also equal to mu. k3 is also equal to mu. And the movements are also equal to mean. A very important one. Next question is standard deviation of the binomial distribution. We know in binomial, mean is NP, variance is NPQ, and standard deviation is NPQ under the root. Next question is question number 11. P is 0.8, N is 40. What is the mean? We know that mean is NP. That will be 40 into 0.8. 8 for the 30, 32. 32 will be the correct answer in the exam. Answer in the exam. Next question is question number 12. Extreme values do not affect on median. Median is not affected by the extreme values. Why? Because median is a central value after arranging the data in the ascending order. That's why it is not affected. Arithmetic mean is affected by the extreme values. Geometric mean and harmonic mean also affected by the extreme values. But median is not affected by the extreme values. Dear students, these are the basic questions. For every written test of statistics, without learning all these concepts, you cannot pass the paper. And after learning that paper, after learning all these concepts, you will pass every written test of statistics. Next question number 13 is, I have discussed many times, Q2 is equal to P50 is equal to D5 is equal to median. A very important concept. It means central value. It means central value. It means central value. It means central value. A very important one. And I can discuss also Q1 is equal to P25. Then the next question is very important one. In Latin square design, what is the degree of freedom of error? In my lectures, you can see on YouTube, I have discussed in detail about the experimental design. I will discuss one by one. In CRD, we have no restriction of applying the treatments randomly on the experimental units. In this much, the degree of freedom for treatment will be k minus 1. For error, it is n minus k. And for total, it is n minus 1. Then I will say about RCBD. The degree of freedom for treatment is k minus 1 for block, because there is it is one restricted. It has restriction in one way. All the treatments will be applied in every block one time randomly. Block will be b minus 1, it can also be r minus 1, or error will be k minus 1 into b minus 1. For total, that will be rk minus 1. Now I will come on Latin square. In Latin square, it has two-way restriction in the rows and in the columns also. Every treatment must be applied one time randomly in the columns as well as in the rows, and it has degree of freedom for treatment, for block, for error, for column. All are equal, and these are equal to k minus 1. A very important MCQ. Then error's degree of freedom is, which is the need of the question, that is k minus 1 into k minus 2. Then the total is k square minus 1. A very important one. Then the next question is, what are disjoint events which cannot occur together? They have intersection 0. A intersection B is 0 in disjoint events. Then which one is non-random sampling? The options are cluster sampling, systematic sampling, multi-stage sampling, and quota sampling. Quota sampling is non-random sampling. We have the personal judgment in that sampling. Then CPI is also called cost of living index. Equality of two variances is checked by F test. Then if A and B are two disjoint events, then probability of A union B will be probability of A plus probability of B